listeners out there, and I hope that we have a good program.
Okay, excellent. Thank you so much, for the both of you for coming in this morning. Can I just first of all find out how the People's Pact is doing? I know it's been around for less than a year, I think. How has it been so far?
Well, I think it's teething problems are always there. The challenges are always there when you are combining groups of individual parties and individual organizations. But I think overall it has been very, very well received, extremely well received. Dr. Member and I have had a chance to go up to some of the places. We've been to northern part of Northern, we've been part of Muchinga, we've been part of northern part of Central Province, we've been on the Copper Belt, and I think it has been very, very well received because people were looking forward to a time when you would have a credible team of leadership that is coming forward and presenting themselves as a cohesive group. But also we had to do the background work. We had to document what we wanted to do, how we would operate from the different parties, from the different organizations. Remember, the pact is not just relating to political parties. It is relating to groups of civil organizations that are seeking a particular achievement that they want to see in the political sphere. So it has been quite good, and I think we're hopeful, and as we go about spreading it out, it will be very, we hope to consolidate. However, what we are finding is that we are being chased everywhere we go. We are being followed by the special division or whatever it's supposed to be called now, and basically not being allowed to congregate. So our rights in terms of the freedom to assemble are being infringed upon, and they never allow you anything. You apply, and I think that Dr. Member will allude to this. You apply, and you know for sure, even before as you apply, they will never allow you to meet. So the question is then, how do we communicate our message? So that has been a challenging thing. So we welcome the opportunity like this one, so that we can be able to virtually communicate with citizens, so that they know what is available and what is right and what is needed.
Okay. Let me just also mention that Mr. Preston Chinyama, who is a member of the Central Committee of the Socialist Party, is also an assistant to the Socialist Party President for Politics, is also in the studio with us. Mr. Preston, thank you so much for coming in. And I said to him outside that it's been a long time since I saw him, so it's good to see you in the flesh.
It's a pleasure having us here.
Thank you very much. Dr. Membe, how has been this union of the various political parties that have come together and now have presented themselves as a sort of united front in terms of the People's Pact? Because I know it's very difficult when you form these alliances. There are always these teething problems, like Dr. Schinga mentioned. How has it been for you?
A union is always challenging. It takes time. Any form of union, political or otherwise. You're bringing people, with different approaches, different systems. For the team to gel, it takes time, it takes effort. But where there's a will, there's a way, and we are doing quite well.
Okay. Can I ask you, I'd really like to spend most of today's conversation talking about some of the ideologies of whether it's the Socialist Party itself or whether it's the People's Pact. You can help me out where I get it wrong, because I always find it difficult when I talk to people that have come together as an alliance, because things change. So can I ask you what has changed? Obviously, you have your socialist ideology. Has that changed now that you're in this alliance and you are the front runner?
A marriage does not change who you are. It actually reinforces who you are. You meet on a common program. You come together to pursue a common program. A program that is common to all of you. So what unites us is not what is different among us, but what is common among us. And what is common among us, first, is the well-being of our people. That's the first thing. Our people need to eat. They need food. Our people need jobs. Our people need housing. Our people need access to clean water and sanitation. In short, our people need all the services required in an organized society. And that is common to all of us. It is common to all of us, not just as political persons, but also as human beings. This is also common even between us and yourself, Ruchi. You also need these things, and you also wish other people these things. Even in the work you're doing also as journalists here, as media, it is in pursuance of all these things I've mentioned to make our country a better place for all of us to live in, to give our people a certain amount of happiness that comes from having these services I've mentioned. There's no ideology that can make you different or differ with each other on that. We are in total agreement with that. Yes, the methods of achieving each of these may differ here and there, but these are things you can harmonize easily. And we are not finding problems in pursuing these issues. And also there's an issue of national sovereignty. There's an issue of getting our country back. That is today a neo-colony dominated by others. Literally every aspect of our lives is dominated by other people. We are not in control of our country. We want to get our country back so that we can pursue our lives with sufficient involvement of our people.
What does that look like? Getting our country back. What does that look like? Does that involve, and Zimbabwe is possibly the worst example I can give, but it's the closest one I can find. Does that involve something very similar to what happened in Zimbabwe?
It's economically. If you look at the economy of your country today, you are not in control of it as Zambians. Start with the blood that runs through your system, which is the money, the economy. You only control 5% of your financial sector. You only control 2%, 100% of your banking system. The 12 billion banking assets, you only control 100%, 2% of those assets. The rest is controlled by foreigners. Your mining sector, which is very key to generating income, which accounts for 70% of your exports, is controlled predominantly by foreigners. You can look at all the key sectors, including even commercial agriculture. Any key sector that you want. Today, even block making, the dominating people I see in Lusaka are not Zambians per se, they are foreigners. What are you in control of as your country? When you're not in control of the economy, even the politics, you lose control over them. Those who finance you started to control the decisions you make. They may not have their faces in parliament, in cabinet, and so forth. But the interests that you pursue in your institutions, the laws that you pass are in their favor. The fiscal policies that you make are in their favor. The budget that you pass are in their favor. The tax laws that you enact are in their favor. So that's what we mean by getting our country back, so that the benefits go to our own people. Our people start to participate in the economic affairs of their country. By doing so, they will gain a much higher control over their politics and social life in general.
Okay, I don't want to ask you what 90 days, the first 90 days would look like in your administration, but I am curious to ask, let's say a year post August, the August 13 elections, how do you go about getting back our country? What measures, what steps, how do you go about it?
Let's start with the financial sector, the banking sector. 60% of the money that is circulating in the banks is government money. It's government money which foreign banks are getting and using to buy treasury bonds and making a lot of money which they take out. So they are using your own money to make money. Why can't you channel that to your people? What is difficult with Zambians running their own banks? Both as individual businessmen, as cooperatives, and as state enterprises. What is the problem? Why can't we channel that money to our people so that they borrow that money and use that money? NAPSA money. NAPSA is the second biggest financial institution in the country, maybe after Bank of Zambia. It's got more money than anybody. It's sitting over 10 maybe $15 billion. Who is using that money? That money does not sit in NAPSA offices. It sits in the banks, mostly these foreign banks. They make money out of that. They use that money from NAPSA, your own money, your own contributions. They use that money to buy treasury bonds, make a killing out of that, and take that money out. They don't lend that money to you. They still lend it to the transnational corporations. You get trapped in a debt from the lending microfinancing institutions. Most of our workers, especially civil servants, they are in a debt trap today. Payday chiriro. Some of them go back with nothing. On payday, they have nothing. They have to go and borrow again. They can't get out of that. Some of them are taking their lives because life can't just balance. Eventually balance. They are taking their lives. Again, we need to give back their lives to them. And when you are in a trap, you can't get yourself out. Someone has to get you out of the trap. Somebody has to disentangle you. And the only institution that can disentangle our people from the debt trap is government. Those who are civil servants or public workers, government owes them money. It owes them, some of them, 800 leave days. It owes them settling allowances here and there and so on. That can be swapped to clear the debts, and government can negotiate also the interest rates that are very high on some of these loans with the lending institutions. And also what is owed to government itself can be dealt with in that way. And as I said, it's not only those who work for the government, our people are trapped in debt, even those who don't work. So there is a need to help them out. The same way the country is looking for debt restructuring, for debt forgiveness and so on, our people also need that. It's very stressful for those who are in debt. And leaders should feel the distress of their people. We should care about those who are in distress. Life can't continue this way. Yes, they are not speaking, but the people are not sleeping. The stress is too high. And with the stress, you are seeing, the increase in the sugar diseases, the hypertension and so forth, which can be fatal in some cases. So this is what we need by getting our country back, to get our lives back, and to increase our happiness.
Uncle Bob, you want to come in as well?
Yeah. I think it's very, very important that I buttress what President Membe is saying. Well, what is the elephant? Who is the elephant in the room? What is the elephant in the room in our society, in the Zambian society? I think it's very, very important for us to identify what the problem is in order for us to provide the solutions and what kind of solutions they are. And that's why, to be honest with you, we've spent some time harmonizing the group's understanding. From each group, there are specific areas of interest and so on and so forth. So clearly we've had to harmonize that to make sure that we've identified not only what the political groupings are seeking, because they are seeking them on behalf of the people. What about the civil society organizations? They are seeking the same. All right. So let's say the Manufacturers Association, just as an example, the Bankers Association as an example. Then there are various civil society organizations that specialize, maybe trade, maybe they are talking about health and so on and so forth. So our purpose, in fact, in taking the time that we have done, is to harmonize that, because when you ask the question, what will you do in the first 90 days, is to lay the ground to make sure that those things that are of concern to the people are being addressed, not just for political sake. No, we are seeking to address them because they will impact the livelihoods of the people, as President Membe has said. After all, what is the purpose of economics? What is economics for? The economics are to help the livelihoods of the people. Just as an example, we haven't mentioned this yet. Let's take education, just as an example. As we traveled out, and I want to highlight this to bring out, because the ruling party has made a point about or how we've given free education. And I want to correct that. First and foremost, I am a product of free education, and I think many of us are products of free education. I did not spend money. My parents did not spend money educating me. The only thing they did was to pay for my uniforms. The only thing they did was to pay for my pencils and my paper, the books, hardcover books, and so on and so forth. We have had free education since independence. Let no one kid that now they're providing free education. But to highlight it, what is the quality of that education that we are seeing that our colleagues are claiming that they're providing? We went to Chinsali, and here I'm going to be specific. President members on chiefdom, shall we say, he's a headman in there. We went to the school and we wanted to find out what's the situation like. Our finding was as follows: 1,060 children, 80 children, okay? 4 classrooms, 10 teachers, 3 of them ladies, 7 of them male. Okay, this is what they had. In each classroom, which is supposed to accommodate 40 children maximum, there was 160 children. 2 sets of classes, one in the morning, the other one in the afternoon, to try and accommodate the 1,080 children. When you look at the 40 minutes that is provided, maybe 45 minutes that's provided for each lesson, each of those teachers, the 10 teachers, they only had 30 seconds, not minutes, 30 seconds with each child. These are 160 children in a classroom where they are supposed to be 40. What kind of education is that? Is that what you can go out to the general public and pride yourself and say, I'm providing free education? Which in fact was being provided to everybody. It has been provided all along. There's a challenge there. It will need a solution. You ask the question, what will you do the first 90 days? Is to re-examine that. How do we do? So when you employ even 30,000 teachers, it's a drop in the ocean. Let's go away from there. I'm just giving one example on education. Let's go to health, because these are the things that matter to the ordinary persons. Okay? And then we said, all right, let's have a look at the clinics. Almost everybody that goes to a clinic, everybody that goes to a hospital now is given a prescription to go and buy their medicines. And that's the biggest component. Now, here we are, so many people have been educated, trained as doctors. They're not taken on. For example, the Socialist Party, and I was personally been pleasantly surprised by this, has trained more than 30 doctors, 30 in the year of operation, the last 5 years. They've more than 30 doctors. I'm talking about medical doctors. Some are graduating at the moment. I think the last count, Dr. Member, I stand to be corrected, there were 17 doctors that were graduating from Venezuela. Okay? Then you've got the technical personnel, the lab assistants and the nurses and so on and so forth. Go a little further. Let's go back to civil, shall we say, people that have never set their foot in a classroom, for example. All right, they've trained 5,000 women from not knowing how to write their names to where they are able to speak English. They are able to communicate. They are able to explain their problems. 5,000 literacy classes, literacy candidates that have been trained by the party. So you ask the question, what will you do the first 90 days? Is to set the ground so that now you convert those ideas, you talked about ideology, now into practical programs. Remember, you are solving a problem. This is why not only should we be worrying about the politics and the which party gets into office, you must also look at the kind of presidential candidate you are seeking to put into office. Are they equipped to address these same issues? Because if we agree that the elephant in the room is the economy, which has been ably mentioned here, and by the way, I worked for the mines, so I can tell you that without the mines, you have nothing. Because that's the institution the institutions that earn the foreign currency. Now, almost all of them are owned externally. Even Kansanshi, where you had 20%, you gave that away. So where will you get the money? The first thing we did, we gave tax holidays. Give tax holidays to the mines.
They argue that they never gave tax holidays.
No, but this is what has happened. When you reduce mineral royalty tax from 6%, which PF government was doing, and reduce to 3%, you have halved your income to government. How would you tackle the problems we're talking about? How would you pay for the medicines? How would you pay for the books that the children need? How would you hire more teachers? So to say that, look, we are doing very well because we have done this, that, and the next, when you have not addressed the basic things that bother the citizens. And I've just come from the Copper Belt. The roads on the Copper Belt and everywhere else, they're in a terrible, terrible condition. And we've been here before, where you have what is called growth, GDP growth, but no development. You can have that. In other words, you're not investing.
What's better though? What's better? Maybe you can help people out.
And I'm just trying.
I know. Yeah. But what's better? Is it better to have GDP growth that can then? Because now I'm gonna let me play the devil's advocate a little. They will make the argument to say that there's GDP growth. Because of that growth, they're able to then go and hire a few teachers. When I say a few, thousands.
Yes.
Thousands. Medical personnel.
Yes.
And for them, they look at that as we're making strides. It's not. I guess it's not perfect. But is there an argument there that makes any sense?
Yeah, the question is, when you talk about GDP, where is it coming from? Because remember, there are sectors, right? There's the mining sector, there is, of course, the agricultural sector, and several others like that. Where is that growth taking place? And this is why the banking issue that President Pembe was raising becomes an important issue. Where is that value that you are generating going to? If you own the mines, okay, you own, let's just say for argument's sake, 80% of the mines.
Yeah.
When you pay the dividend, where does the dividend go? To shareholders. Where are the shareholders? Overseas. So does the money stay in the country? Can you recycle it? No. You see what I'm trying to say? So in other words, even while we seek, look at what happened when the UPND government came into office. What did they do? They went to IMF. Even now, as we're talking, they were looking for another IMF deal. To do what? When you have the resource lying here in your own ground here, and you could have had the extra 3%, you could have had another 10% of it is allowed. 10% is my tithe, as it were, as a country, from the things that you're taking from the ground. Where would that money have gone? It would have helped even further in terms of that growth. In other words, what is growth? So then we can go into the technical areas, which I think is not really for this discussion, but we can do that. We can go into the technicalities. And that's why for me, one of the things that I think is very, very important is when we're selecting a leader, and I'm saying this because it's taking place right now, when we're selecting a leader, we have to look, what are this person's abilities? What can they do? Here in Fred Membe, we have not only a business person who has shown through the post, okay, which he ran on his own, which he built from scratch, right, very successfully. That's one. Secondly, we've got a person who is a qualified accountant. He's an economist. He's a business person. He has done taxation. Not only that, we can go a step further. He's a lawyer. I mean, he holds a PhD in business management. So you have to, can he understand the issue? Of course he can understand the issues. So when you are tackling the problems, you have to have a person, not just because they are popular, Chimwela, okay? You have to understand this person is going to lead us. He may not be the only one, but he's going to lead us to focus on specific areas to address the very things you talked about, whether it's the first 90 days, whether it's the first 6 months, whether it is first year. All these things are important so the country can develop its own resilience, its own capacity to do more of the GDP growth. I hope I'm responding to the question.
You are. And yes.
Maybe to touch on the issue raised, the issue of growing the GDP is important. It's important to grow the economy. But what matters at the end of the day is who benefits from that growth. From that growth,
yes, absolutely.
And where that economy grows also determines who benefits. 80% of our people are directly or indirectly dependent on agriculture. Agriculture contributes only 4%, 3.9%. Let's round it up to 4%.
At the moment, yeah.
To 4% of the GDP. And that 4% of the GDP, that's what 80% of your population also depends on. Zambia's workforce, about 70% or so is deployed in agriculture, producing only 3.9%, 4% of the GDP. And that's what they depend on. And these are predominantly rural people. When you look at the rural poverty today, it stands at 78.8%. That's according to the 2022 June-July survey. 78, yes, Zamstats, 78.8%. When you look at the 78.8% poverty level, it almost ties up with the 80% that is dependent on agriculture. And if you don't improve agriculture, especially peasant agriculture, the benefit that will go to our people from GDP will continue to be very low. The poverty levels will continue to be high. Your rural provinces will continue to be very poor. You have today rural provinces hitting 80% poverty levels. Muchinga province, which is the number one poorest province, is 82.6%. You have the second province, Western province, is 78.6%. The third province, Northern province, is 78%. The fourth, Luapula, is 77.3%. Eastern province, 76.4%. These are very high poverty levels. And they show you how areas that are dependent on agriculture with this low productivity, we have not invested in agriculture to make it productive. You only have 15% of your arable land under cultivation. Today, only 15% of the arable land is under cultivation. And that 15%, only 5% of the cultivated land is under irrigation, 5%. So you are having people having one crop of maize with very low yields per hectare because of the so many factors. How do they survive? How do you get them out of poverty? Only 0.2% of your agriculture is mechanized. And by mechanized, I mean just having a tractor. Just having a tractor to plow. You are still plowing with a hoe, with a kambwiri. I don't mean Chimba, my brother, no, I mean the hoe. 21st century, you have agriculture dependent on a hoe. A hoe is supposed to be just for putting up flowers around your house. It's not enough for subsistence. So the productivity of agriculture is so low. And without that, we are going nowhere. Without improving that. We need more money. The 3% royalties we have given away, we need that money to plow into peasant agriculture. And the agriculture, if we push more into it, it will create more jobs. It will not make everybody, and including Luchi, a farmer, no. There are many services that agriculture needs. It will need finance, people will be employed. It will need insurance, people will be employed. It will need transport, people will be employed as drivers, as mechanics. It will need storage. It will need storage. It will need accountants. It will need even lawyers to deal with so many aspects. So many jobs will come out of agriculture. And that's the only way we can reduce the poverty levels. But the money has to come from the cash cow, which is mining. Mining is not for decoration or for anything. Mining is simply for money. We mine just to make money.
Are we bad negotiators?
Oh, so far that's
Are we bad negotiators?
Mining did not start today.
Because for 61 years we've been trying to negotiate.
We have been mining since the early 1900s. Our people were killed in Eastern Province. The Ngonis were killed over minerals, over what was believed to be gold in the area. They were killed. They perished in huge numbers, including the first Mpeze Ndisani, Nsingo, including the Mpeze himself, the first Mpeze who was jailed at Fort Manning for just refusing to allow the land to be taken away for mining. So the lumber people lost their mines. They were mining before. Don't forget that our people were mining. The Lambas, the Kaundes were mining. When these people came, they took over their mines without compensation. They were trading in minerals, in copper. Internationally, they were trading. They lost their mines without compensation. So the people who have been mining since the early 1900s, they have become richer. The building that you see in Johannesburg, that you see in London, they come from your minerals here. What did they leave here nothing. The picture has not changed that much. Maybe it has moved from black and white to color, but it's still the same picture. It's still the same picture of exploitation and fairness. If we were preserving even or retaining even 50% of what was earned here, we wouldn't be where we are.
But how do you get there? Because again, you have these big multinationals. I always say this to people who come here and talk about mining, and I always say that sometimes I feel like our biggest problem is we walk into negotiation rooms and we're a little scared that we need you more than you need us. In the sense of we need your money because we don't have the money to put into the ground to mine, because everyone tells me that it's a very capital intensive business, and because of that we need you more than you need us.
You managed to get the mines here. First I said you owned the mine in the first place. They were taken away from you without compensation. You managed to get them back in the early 70s. Honorable Sichinga here worked for the mines for almost 10 years, a decade. At the top level, he was secretary, mine secretary for Mufulira there. We had Zambians running those mines. We are not the only copper mining country. We have Chile. Chile
next door to us.
Yes. Yeah. The mines are owned in Chile by the Chileans. Predominantly. Yes, there are foreign companies participating, but predominantly the anchor mining corporation is Chilean, owned by the state. They are benefiting more from their minerals than we are. We gave them back again. We got them at a very high price, gave them back with nothing. When we were buying them, the copper prices were below $2,000. When we were getting those mines, the prices sank a little bit down. Now copper is going for $14,000 per metric ton, from an average of about 2,000, and we are still giving away. We had Mopani that we managed to rescue from a crocodile's mouth, and we put it in the hippo's mouth. How foolish can we be? Again, Zambia's future, like its past, will depend on how we navigate questions of leadership, accountability, and national purpose. There has to be a national purpose. There has to be accountability in everything we do. What is in it for us? How does it push our country further? How does it improve the living conditions of our people? If it doesn't, stop mining.
Yeah, because what is the benefit? Yeah,
minerals don't rot. Ama minerals tabola, umukubata ubola. Let the future generations who will be better positioned to mine come and mine. There's no need to just leave us with craters. They take the minerals, they take the money. Then what remains for us? Let them at least take the minerals and leave some of the money. Not where they take the minerals and they take the money. Even the sale proceeds are taken out and banked somewhere else, enriching other nations. Not us. At least even if they brought the money and banked it here so that our people can borrow it and
circulate within them
and run their businesses. But we don't have access to that income. What they bring in is only what they need to pay for the wages, and the wages are dropping. The numbers of people being employed in the mines has reduced tremendously. A mine that was supposed to be employing 15,000 people today employs only 5,000 people. The wages go as low as 2,800 for a miner. 2,800. Even our people who are trying to make some efforts to mine for themselves here and there, or to scavenge here and there, we call them illegal miners. We send in our soldiers to deal with them. They can't get a small benefit. They have to come back to the compounds and be unemployed. Instead of finding a mechanism to let them mine, we are taking them out and putting the foreigners back in there. I'm not anti-foreigner. Everything needs to be rationalized. They are not coming here to benefit us, they are coming here to benefit themselves. They are not coming to look after us here, they are coming to look after themselves, their own interests. Nobody will look after our own interests other than ourselves.
It has to be a win-win, in other words.
Yes, what we can't do for ourselves, nobody will do it for us.
But what's the version of a win-win? Because again, you hear you hear people say, and you hear particularly those in government, you hear them say that some of the mines are our largest contributors in terms of taxes. That almost feels like a pat in the back to all of them to say, you know what, well done, you're giving us quite a lot of tax, contrary to what everyone else says in terms of these mining companies.
Luchi, you have heard the World Bank, you have heard the IMF. You have heard our so-called cooperating partners tell us that we are not collecting sufficient income from the mines.
From the mines, yeah.
These are the people who are interested in these corporations, who support these transnational corporations, are telling us, Zambians, wake up, what's wrong with you? You are not collecting enough income from your mines. You have heard that, them telling us. Are they also as foolish as we are? They also can't see what we can't see. Do they need to tell us we need more money? Then we are going to the same people begging
to
with
borrow.
balls to borrow our own money. To borrow our own money.
Because you would have earned that money. You would have earned it had you asked negotiate, and it comes back to the very issue you're raising. Are we bad negotiators? Of course we are. Because in many a time it's because of certain vested interests that people have, or we can benefit from this. There are some individuals that will benefit from it, maybe through some ulterior motives and through mechanisms. Remember, you're talking here, you're asking, Luchi, you're asking people that I have been on the mines.
And you've been in government as well.
I've been in government as well. I can tell you this. Right? We basically have to don't even talk about value addition. So what is it that you're going to create? Why are you going to borrow money? Why are you borrowing money when you could have earned it through your mineral rights tax, for example? Just as an example.
Okay, can I ask? Okay, wait. Let me ask you the most basic question I can ask, because I think a lot of people would really want to know. So, is the Socialist Party People's Pact position to say let's either tax more or let's find policies that sort of puts a noose around their necks to the point where they think, you know what, we're better off leaving? What is the position?
Rochi, I've been sitting on the International Bar Taxes Committee for the last almost 13 years. This is where you find the people who are doing tax consultancies for these transnational corporations. These firms that are supposed to be law firms, you'll find their accountants in there, their economists in there, their mining experts in there, engineers, their sociologists in there, their media and communication experts in there. The skills are so high. I've done taxation from accountants, from economics, and from law. But to tell you the truth, I'm usually at sea in those meetings. I'm just there to learn. And the learning doesn't seem to end. These are the people who negotiate with our governments for these transnational corporations. Do we have these skills in the Ministry of Justice? The answer is a categorical no. Do we have these skills at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, of Finance? The answer is a categorical no, not to match that. Do we have these skills at the Bank of Zambia? To match that, we don't. And these are the forces that we have to compete with. We stand no chance. We have to think outside the box to deal with this. They set the media on us. They come and praise our leaders. put them in the newspapers in Europe as the best leaders, the best finance ministers, praise them. Then by the time they come to negotiate with them, their feet are not on the ground. They are swinging in the air. The skills are too high, the investments are too high. We are not even investing enough in negotiating capacity with these people. We are not building that capacity to negotiate. The world is complicated today. Look even at the minerals. We are still exporting soil, to borrow from Mr. Sata's vocabulary. We are still exporting soil and processed minerals. You don't know what is contained in that. Blisters, we don't know what is contained in that blister. And processed minerals. What we are getting out of it is very little. And I agree with the World Bank, the IMF and others that we are not getting sufficient income from our mining. We need that income to run our schools. We need that income to run our hospitals. We need that income to invest in our agriculture. The poverty levels are too high. Your national average poverty today is exceeding 60%. It's running towards 70%. National average poverty. Poverty in Lusaka today, it has shot from 20.2% to 27% in Lusaka, the capital. These are not figures coming from my head, they are coming from Zamstats. And look at your population growth rate. You have got a average national population growth rate of 3.5%, which means, Luchi, in 15 years, your population of almost 22 million today will be 44 million.
How will you deal with it?
What are you putting in place to ensure that in 15 years' time you'll be able to look after a population that has doubled, a population of 44 million, better than you are looking after a population of 22 million?
Well, we start by educating them.
Yeah.
And then hopefully
them?
The ideas are coming from the people that you're educating.
Because this is why it's so critical. This is why it's so critical in terms of the choices we as citizens are making. To answer the question that you raised, it does not have to be one or the other. Remember, even the negotiations, and I want to say this, that there's sufficient capacity, there are sufficient numbers of us that have even worked on the mines. I mean, ZCCM was 68% owned by the Zambians, right? And people say, oh no, they did not know how, and today they say we can't run the mines. Who says? Because there are some of us that are here, we're sitting here, we can deal with that. But having said that, the most important part of it is how do we convert that resource into a productive thing that addresses issues of poverty? Because what the investors are looking for is not to walk away because you've charged us 10% or 10%, because they need it as well. They need whatever profit there is. So what we're saying is that let's find a fair deal that protects both the country and create political stability, which gives an environment that enables the investors also to have confidence that in the long term their investments are protected. By shooting children, by killing children when they want to do artisanal mining, you are not solving the problem. All you're doing is you're trying to bury them with the children that you're burying. So it's very, very important for us to ensure that we do a better deal for the country, for the nation, and that's what should be the purpose of our leadership going into government. And that's what we in the pact have basically been doing, getting our thoughts together, putting our ideas together and saying this will do in 90 days, this will do in 180 days, and so on and so forth. So to come back to the point you have raised, I don't think it has to be either or. It doesn't have to be, yes, because you getting more, therefore it will lose you. No, we want a fair deal that enables us to have not only the issue of more resource in terms of what is generated as income, but we also want ownership, because ownership is ours. What is in the ground is ours, John. Yeah, the minerals that are in the ground are ours. And by the way, just to give you an idea, we used to produce gold at the precious metals plant in Ndola Copper Refinery. There was a precious metals plant. We used to take the blister that President Member has just talked about, and then take the slimes and develop them into a finished commodity. We're producing gold, we're producing silver, we're producing palladium. The gold was going to Bank of Zambia. what does that do to your currency? It strengthens the currency. When it strengthens the currency, what does that do in terms of your wealth? Then you have capacity. Instead of you going to IMF to go and borrow, you have your own, then which you can use it as prudently, by the way. You must use it prudently, not stealing like some of the previous governments have done, and even the current government, where you're letting people steal it from those that need it by some very clever ways and so on and so forth. So that we have to address. So the question you raised is very, very important, because that's the critical part. Why do we even want to go into politics anyway if we're not going to solve the people's problems?
Let me bring in.
And Ruchi, we may sound very pessimistic. Yeah. We are not pessimistic. We are optimists, and we have to be eternally optimistic.
Correct.
No matter how rough it gets, there is always some light somewhere. There can be a dark cloud, but there will be a small patch of blue, and that should draw us on. What we are trying to say is we can do better than this. Doing better is not easy. It requires a lot of effort. And let's do things the right way, even if it calls for maximum effort from us. Life is not easy. Good things don't come easy. We have to strive for them.
Correct.
We have to make the sacrifices that are required. We have to stretch ourselves to the utmost. We are not criticizing anybody. We are simply pointing to what the situation is. How it has come is another issue. But we can get out of this. And we are being told, even by the people we go to borrow money from, that you can do better. If we can collect enough income from our resources, the resources God gave us, our dependence on them will reduce.
Correct.
That's all what we are saying. But to do this, it requires leadership. As it was in the past, so it shall be in the present and in the future. Leadership is required. Accountability is required. National purpose is required. We have to look at our national interests.
Yeah. That's the cause, Luchi. That is the cause. This is what is getting us to where we are. We are seeking that.
Okay. Let me bring in. In Preston. He's been very quiet.
Yes.
He's been watching the elders speak.
Very, very interesting. When I sit before this team of elders, I benefit immensely every day from their encouragement, their hard work. These are leaders, national leaders that the nation has actually developed over time. Honorable Sichinga, at some point commonly referred to as the Sichinga brothers. You know, we come from that history, and of course it is a non-story. Dr. Membe making himself available for national duty. Apparently, it is telling us that all the contributions the able leaders have made mention can only be achieved with a collective approach, a collective national responsibility. So it goes to get us to realize, to say, as we are preparing for the 2026 general election, we are appreciating the fact that every contestation has a context. So this time around is presentation of another set of leadership for national management of affairs. So what are we doing? As the Socialist Party, in the first place, we are too clear from the time the Socialist Party was constituted some 10 years ago, that I think the management of affairs of the nation needed a different approach. It took us at the Socialist Party to convince Dr. Fred Membe to be president of the Socialist Party about 18 months. This is a comrade who we know and trusted from onset to say he can lead the process. But he argued to say he was not part of the formation of the Socialist Party to be able to lead to take up a leadership role. But for us as the general membership of the party, we're too convinced to say all of the efforts put together, all of our leaders put together, we needed one leader who would manage that process in the battlefront. So after 1 year, 6 months of discussing with him, prolonged meetings, sometimes we would spend countless hours actually to try to negotiate with him to take this responsibility to which he committed himself to. So when he was called to duty, it has not been an easy undertaking. You can imagine even how many times he's been arrested, how many times he's been taken to court. Not that he's on the side of wrongdoing in most cases, but he is charged mostly for speaking the truth. So again, you've seen the journey from 2021 to how far we've come. It has not been an easy, it has been a roller coaster. So many things happening, so many promises which were made, not fulfilled. The politics about food, the politics about water, the politics about health, the politics about education, the politics about national security has not ended. So what is the meaning of this? It simply means the work to create a better Zambia is not at end. It's an ongoing process. Of course, this is acknowledging the fact that the creation of society is continuous engineering. But at the end of the day, you need to have the right for human resource leading processes. So we have the Socialist Party participating in the general election in 2026, not as a single political party, but in a consortium, a partnership that brings a name called the People's Pact Movement, to which Honorable Sichinga comes in. We have other different political parties joining the pact. This is to respond to the cause. At some point, Zambian people said, we need a united opposition. As a Socialist Party, we attempted to belong to an organization which was called United Opposition Front. And of course, it was given an attention, all the resources, provided leadership for a record period of a year plus. When things did not work out, we did not fold our hands. We still remembered the call of the people, which said, soldier on. We need a coordinated opposition, a stronger opposition. So we still examined, and the people again said Dr. Membe should lead the process. Why? For various reasons. This is a comrade who's been on the political scene for over 30 years now, from the creation of the MMD. This is a comrade better prepared in different aspects. Comrade Sichinga was alluding to some of his qualifications, some of his experiences, some of the contributions he has made to this nation. So Comrade Luchi, sitting in this interview and listening to the distinguished comrades making their presentations from technical perspectives, it is only pointing to say, I think the preparations going forward will be a continued struggle. But the president always says, even in the darkest of the situations, there must be hope. We are too sure something will come out, the efforts that we are working on literally every day.
Okay.
So the People's Pact Movement, after visiting in northern Muchinga and parts of
northern part of the
northern Copper Belt, that process has not rested. That process has not continued. The people of Zambia have always said, we know Dr. Membe, he is one of us, some actually with different connections at different levels apart from politics. In the traditional leadership circles, he comes from different royal families or royal establishments. He's actually Mwikamukulu himself.
Yeah, he's a headman.
He's a headman of a village that I visited actually in Chinsali. But I can also, for a fact, confirm that this is my brother from my Mbunda side. He comes from the Mwene Kandalas. This is Yuka, chiefdom in Mabumbu. When you are driving from Omongo into Limulonga in the royal village where Komboka will take place, just a couple of days from now, you have this chiefdom where Mwene Kandala is, that is part of his establishment. Then this chiefdom in Mwene Kandala's area is also connected to some chiefdom in Kalabo, to which we have a brother who is a chief there, which is called Diliumba. The Nkoya aspect, which is parts of Nkeyema and Kaoma districts, and some parts of Luampa and Nkeyema. So in short, what we're trying to say
and
is...
also the mother's side.
On the mother's side, yes, that is where I'm actually trying to explain. On the Nkoya side, the Mbunda side, and so many other different connections. So I think to achieve everything, the mining aspects, the health changes that needs to be achieved, whether in the 100 days or whichever period, at the end of the day, all these achievements will need leadership.
Okay.
And that's the more reason why I think we've spent enough time recruiting the best for national leadership.
Okay. There's a question, Dr. Membe. There's a question here from somebody who says, what policies are you likely to continue or improve on in terms of policies, current policies? Because I think let me give context. The context is that one of our biggest problems is that we lack continuity of good policies. we lost a bit of direction after Manawasa in terms of policy changes. So are there any policies that you're likely to continue or improve? You referenced free education as one of them. Would that be one that you keep but improve?
From the very beginning, when we were in opposition with the UPND, we were talking about free education. I think we were the loudest in terms of free education and articulated it probably much more stronger, much more clearer than anybody else. Socialism is anchored on free education.
Absolutely.
So when it comes to free education, we are the masters, we socialists. We are the originators of free education literally. So that continues and it will be deepened, perfected.
And enhanced in terms of quality.
Yes.
Yeah.
We need also to deal with mining in all its aspects. One of the biggest problems we have today is unemployment of young people. If we can't take them into mining, where are they going to go in the first place? These young people wanted to mine. They are leaving the townships, they are leaving the villages to go and mine. Some of them in gold mining and so on. We need to create mechanisms to enable them to mine, not to chase them from the mines with the soldiers, to exterminate them, to fumigate them. No. It can be done in a more humane way, in a more rational way, where the nation benefits. We need to maximize income from mining. We actually need mass mining. We need to mine our mineral resources at a very fast rate, at a very high rate, so that we maximize national income and also reduce unemployment. We are talking about reaching 3 million tons of copper. That can be reached quite fast if we deploy our people more and more into mining. Again, agriculture, we need to improve our agricultural system. We need to increase food production. We have fisheries. When you look at fisheries, it's a joke. My doctorate, my thesis is on fish farming. Today we are dependent on tilapia because we have finished the stocks of fish in the rivers, in the lakes. There's very little fish that is there. We are still importing fish. And the fish we're importing is not seafood, no, or sea fish. We are importing freshwater fish, tilapia, an African fish. An African fish that was taken from Mozambique, taken from Egypt to Japan initially, and then to the Asian subcontinent, modified, brought in back in a very hard way. That's what we're importing from Asia. That's the main source of protein for our people. Look at cattle. We talk about cattle. We only have 3.4 million animals, roughly. 1.3 of them in Southern Province, 900,000 plus in Central and Lusaka Province, 650,000 in Eastern Province, 450,000 plus in Western Province, and a little bit here and there. Chickens, on which our people today are increasingly being dependent on for protein. Look at the cost of a chicken, look at the production of the chickens. Just look at the poultry industry, it's in chaos. It needs rationalizing.
It needs in what way? In what way? How? Because I'm assuming, and this is someone actually mentions, is that in as much as you mentioned the numbers being supposedly low, how do you then increase those numbers?
You know that the chicken that you are eating today, you do not have control over it. If the foreigners who own those chickens pull out, you have no chicks. You have no chicks. We don't have our own chicken.
We're talking about breed.
Breed, yes.
Correct.
It's foreign controlled. Even maize, you don't have your seed.
Your seed. Your
He was
plasma.
Minister of Agriculture. He can explain to you under Mr. Sata. You have lost control over your main food stuff. There is need for food sovereignty as well.
Correct.
There's need for food sovereignty. Power generation itself. This is a hot subject
And very current.
and very, very current. Without enough power generation, you will not be able to improve your agriculture, your food production. You will not be able to increase jobs. You will not be able to increase efficiency, effectiveness, and orderliness in the economy. So all these require a lot of attention. And it's continuous work. We will not be the first ones to deal with these issues.
But how will you deal with them?
Every government
But how
deals.
will you deal with them? Are you able to say how you will deal with some of these issues? Not all of them, obviously, but just some.
But all of them. In fact, that's what we've.
Because as an example,
That's what we've been discussing.
So if you say, and this is not for the benefit of people that are wondering, how will they deal with the many issues, whether it's the cost of living, whether it's unemployment. The first thing is tied to mining, correct? Improve the amount of money you can get from the mines. That then is able to go into agriculture. That increases employment in those areas. That also deals with then food sovereignty. So would I be correct in saying that the first big priority would be the mines?
Yes.
Okay.
Because you're looking for money.
Okay.
And the first things are those things you can do sitting in the office. And sitting in the office, you can deal with the royalties that you have reduced from 6% to 3%.
Correct.
You can deal with that
Would it be
sitting in your office.
Okay.
Get that money back.
Yeah, correct. And ownership is critical. I mean, whether you like, we should make no apologies about owning it because it's ours. Yeah, why are you giving it away? Why are you giving away silver, the family's jewels, when in fact you have it in your hands right now?
Is there a number that you're thinking at the moment?
No. But I think that's the policy issue. That's what you asked earlier.
Yeah.
And I think for our colleagues, you see, you cannot make a decision in absentia.
Okay. Without knowing everything.
You see, we have to get down to the bottom of what is obtaining at the moment. And this is where, to answer that particular question, Luchi, we have to say the policy framework has to alter. It may be specific figures, it may be specific approaches, it may be specific policy framework that you are going to use in order to do this. Remember, you have to sit down. This is not an arbitrary statement where you say, we've declared this and that's it. No, you have to take it step by step because you want to sustain it. You want to make sure, but we're saying it has to change. That's number one. Number two, the whole issue of what we've been talking about is we can improve, even the little that we have, we can improve. Look at the level of corruption. Tell me why we are having to import medicines, just as an example. Where are those containers that are supposed to have been brought the medicines? Remember the big case of Zamsa? Where are they? What has happened? There's no accountability. How about the FIC report that's telling us people are sending money out? What has happened to that? Why is it that the Canona Power can import power when ZESCO should be doing that? Why? Why do you need an individual person in order to do that? And the Canona then sells to ZESCO. How? What sense does it make? So there are many things that need to be done. Austerity measures would have to be taken. Wastefulness cannot be afforded. You have to rationalize it. For example, the civil servants that are struggling. Because you have to have a contented, fairly contented civil service or public service, and investments must start to show that the people are not spending it on buying expensive vehicles, but we are making the investment in the right places. And that's why not only mining, but the agricultural side. Why did we have to import maize from Tanzania? I mean, where did you get the money from? So what I'm saying is that if we did the right things at the right level, the right policy framework, that is what's going to help us. So it's going to be a combination.
Okay.
All these factors
All right.
have to be taken.
I'm smiling.
Even the issue of debt trap for the civil servants,
Yeah.
it may look a small thing.
Yeah.
But look, every month, Bank of Zambia releases about 10 billion kwacha for the salaries. Out of that 10 billion, 8 billion is taken
Pulled
from
back,
the payroll, pulled
out,
back, and given to the lenders. So our people only get 2 billion. And 2 billion, that's what they are spending in the markets, in the shops. Imagine if they were getting even 8
half
billion,
of, yeah.
or even 6 billion, the purchasing power would be high.
enhanced. Yeah.
The demand will increase, production will increase. At least some income would get to people. So these are things that you can do very quickly. Sitting in the office, you can do these things very quickly.
They are low-lying fruits. Yeah.
But they are not small things. They appear small things, but they are not small things.
Yeah, right. They appear small things.
Yes.
The reason I say, because I was smiling just now.
Yeah.
Because, and this is the thing, I'm not running for president, so
So you can speak.
I can say what I'm about to
Yes,
say.
yeah.
I'm not bothered.
Yeah.
I'm never running for public office. But I'm always fascinated when we always talk about civil servants and make them sound like they're victims of their own borrowing. They're the reason why they're taking home 2 billion and not 6 billion. It's no one else, it's them.
Yeah, it's because they can't make ends meet that they're having to borrow. You see, we're back to
But
the
if they were
poverty
more
cycle.
financially prudent.
No. But remember, logic. Remember, why are you borrowing? Why is Zambia borrowing in the first place? Because you don't have enough. Yeah.
True.
And what you are trying to do is to increase the. Even when you look at the budget, I'm going to talk as a former member of Parliament.
Yeah.
You go to Parliament. You've got a budget, yellow book. Remember the 1,000 or 2,000 pages
that most people don't read.
That most people don't read, right? Because they're always scared about it. But if you look at that, the bulk of that 2,000 pages is not income side. It's expenditure side. The question is, where is the income side? Where is it going to come from? This is what we've been talking about the whole of this morning. We are trying to say that increase your supply side, the revenue side, but use it prudently as well. Find the right places, and this is what we've talked about, I think, extensively. And that's what the socialist the philosophy you asked about earlier is about. It's because the economy is for the people, not the people for the economy. So we are working out mechanisms and the policy framework that must take place. And you cannot just pick anybody. You have to pick the leadership that we've talked about that understands this dynamic.
And Ruchi, it's not recklessness that has led to civil servants being in a debt trap. When the cost of living rises, when unemployment is increasing in a country, we have high levels of unemployment. It means you today, from your salary here, you have to increasingly support more and more people.
Correct. Correct.
Your sister's children
network,
don't have the means. Your cousin has lost a job. Your brother has lost a job. The children are stuck. They can't go to school. You started looking after more people than your own children. To cater for that, it pushes you into debt. The number of children coming to your home to stay increases. Your food budget pushes up. Your salary is not increasing. Your responsibilities, your costs are increasing. You end up borrowing, not because you are reckless. Where do you chase these children?
Where do they go?
Some of them are orphans. Where do you chase them? You have got an old mother and old father who needs medicines. As they grow older, they depend more and more on medicines. You have to take care of that. Your transport costs going to work and back home are increasing. The salary can't cater for this. You have to go and borrow. And you get yourself trapped into that.
Not by design.
Not by design.
No.
It's not recklessness. It's necessity. It's desperation. People are pushed into this by desperation.
But who should bail them out then? Who should bail them out?
That's the responsibility of the leadership.
That's the challenge for the leadership.
That's our job. That's our job.
As the other taxpayers, in other words, should bail them out.
No,
am I looking at this wrong? Or is it just me who's now being a slight capitalist who's talking?
Let me give you part of the solution for the government that we have come up with. You will find that an average civil servant has got maybe 800 leave days sitting on the books. They have not been paid their settling allowance. They have not been paid this thing. They have not been paid that. You find the government also owes them.
Okay.
We are saying
offset.
Commute those leave days. Offset the debt, whether the debt is to government or to the lending institution, you pay. The interest rates also, our people are not being protected. You can't just charge any interest rate that you want. There are laws. Let's get our people protected. Let the government negotiate on their behalf, deal with on their behalf with the lenders. where they have charged interest rates that are far way above what is reasonable. The government should come in and negotiate that, cut that, reduce this liability, pay. You are using their own money. We are not saying you just go and take this and deal with it. There are so many things that we can do. The same way you are trying to restructure the debt of the nation, the same way you can also think about the individual. They are trapped. Yeah?
Okay. I mean, when you put it like that, yes.
Yes.
When you put it like
trapped.
that, when you put it in terms of restructuring.
The public debt interprets himself into individual debt. It does.
Okay.
Didn't you go for HIPIC?
Yes, we did.
Didn't you go for a complete debt write-off?
Yeah.
So those people who wrote off your debts are bad people. They are fools. They are not rational. It was not their money. Yeah.
So I think these are the things that you asked about the question. These are the details that obviously have to be worked out. Once you are in office, you can then look at the figures. And what we're saying is we have the capacity to do that. We are committed to doing that. And remember, in the pact, there are so many other interest groups that are declaring, this is what we want you to go and solve for us. This is what we want you to go and solve for us. This is what we want you to go and address on our behalf. The farmers, the civil servants, civil society. So those are the things that I think we need to recognize that we need the capacity in the leadership, in the political leadership, because they are the ones charged with the duty and to do just that.
Okay.
And also these things are not going to be done arbitrarily. We are not going to cripple these businesses that are lending money to people. We will need to sit down with them, reason with them. We need to sit down with the trade unions. We need to sit down with the employees themselves who are in debt. We need to sit down with so many other stakeholders and find the best way, the fairest way. Every policy has to be just, has to be fair, has to be humane. We are not there to destroy the businesses that are running. We are not looking at the lenders, as very bad people who should be killed. No. We are saying we can sit down with everybody and come out with something that is better. They need these people also to continue borrowing.
Yes, correct.
But borrowing in a rational way.
Not
Let me
in
go.
a situation where a single client is actually owing 2-3 institutions, lending institutions, that is, up to the level where another lending institution will actually inherit the debt of this client and start to pay on their behalf. So it's a taxing situation, and I think something needs to be done very, very quickly.
Unfortunately, we cannot cover it in a discussion.
I agree.
Interview.
I agree.
Yeah.
Let me go to the phone because a lot of people do want to speak to you this morning. If you just switched on your radio, we are with our friends from the People's Pact, the president of the People's Pact, but also the leader of the Socialist Party, Dr. Fred Membe. The vice president is Mr. Robert Chinga. Mr. Preston Chinyama is a member of the Central Committee of the Socialist Party. He's also the assistant to the Socialist Party president for politics. Good morning.
Good morning, Ruchi.
Good morning. What's your name?
Good morning, Honorable Member and Sichinda.
Hey, good morning.
Dr. Pratt, all those people are my brothers. Sichinda, he was the MP for a few.
Yeah, this is Peter.
Oh, I think we've lost Proud. Peter, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, go ahead, Peter.
Yes, I wanted to find out what is the comment. I wanted to get the comments from the president on the electoral process and also the continued arresting of opposition leaders. Do they think that you're going to have fair election? Because the UPND you are arresting people for apparent reasons. So I just wanted to get a comment from Mr. Membe.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much, Peter. 22684 0978 895 895. Hello. Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning. What's your name?
Thank you very much. Lukulu voice on the line.
Okay, your line is very faint, Lukulu voice. What you do is, are you able to speak up?
You see me now?
Okay, almost. Go ahead, very quickly.
Thank you, Lukulu voice here. Greetings to the panelists, Dr. Membe, Dr. Chinga. My question comes to you. Are you aware that the UPND found unemployment levels were high in 2021? Are you aware that the UPND found there was no free education, our children were roaming in the street? Are you not aware that the UPND found debt and we defaulted as a country, the professional defaulters as the PF government that you even supported? And all the effort that have been made, the mines were closed. You understand, KCM in court, it was mining. So today, everything, the production's there. Kalengwa mine closed for 7 years ago. And is being reopened. There's a production now coming, starting, and the employment. Surely all these efforts, putting together, you still blame Hakainde. That's why I normally say that you are just against Hakainde. Personally, you hate him. He's doing a lot of things, this man, and he should be appreciated, and he should be maintained. So for me, I don't see the reason why. You have been saying, free education, we used to have it, but Chinga. If you had the free education ground, why didn't you have it in MMD up to grade 12? Why didn't you have it in PF? The PF said they did not have money. Where is the money now under the UPenn? It's just the leadership we have been looking for. So for us, go to Lukulu, go to Kashishi, go to where you go. People are appreciating. Our children are getting back to school. If you are in town here, comfortably, you see it's nothing. Us, we appreciate it very much. That's why Hakainde will still win this election. So let us learn to appreciate.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Lukulu Voice. 226-841-0978-895. Hello, good morning. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you,
Okay.
Mr. Luchi?
All right. What's your name?
My name is Muntu Mususu. I'm calling you from Lusaka Zone.
Muntu Mususu. Go ahead.
Thank you very much, Mr. Luchi. Good morning, my leader, Comrade Freddie Mende.
Good morning, sir.
You lost him.
Thank you very much. And Mr. Stinger, good morning.
Good morning to you, sir. Good morning.
I must commend you for everything that has been said. And I must put it to you that we as people of this country fully agree with you in everything that you have said. Everything starts with leadership. And Comrade Mende mentioned that. Without leadership, all those good ideas that you are talking about are nothing. I want to put it to you that that is the reason why the people of Zambia are telling you to come together. Yesterday I listened to Brenna Tangala on Emmanuel Mwamba podcast. And I'm asking if you can spend time to listen to what he was saying. You as opposition leaders, everything that you are saying there comes to nothing if you don't come together. Look at the way you are suffering. Every day you are at the court. President Kainde has made you busy all the time in the court so that you don't find time to mobilize. Brenna Changala says that you as opposition political parties, Muribe Ndalama, you have no money. Therefore, your only resources that you have is the people of this country who are suffering the pain Kainde has inflicted on them and the unity that you must have amongst yourselves. Otherwise, everything you are saying there comes to zero. Ben Kentamashimba said 0 plus 0 equals 0. What we need in this country is a second liberation. President Hakainde has taken us back to Stone Age. We have to fight for the independence of this country first. So reduce on your egos. If you're going to put your egos in front of the nation, you will perish. Kainde means business. That is what Brenna Tangala said yesterday.
Muntu Mususu, thank you very much. All right, do you want to quickly respond? There were three, and then I'll go back to the phone lines. Maybe we start with the first one about electoral process.
I'll start with Lukuru Voice.
Okay.
Lukuru Voice is a regular caller. He's a professional radio caller and television caller working for UPND. He's definitely living well. He's got an income because he can't be doing this every day on every radio station that is open. Where would we have time to earn a living? So he's earning a living from this, but I think those who are employing him are not doing a good service to themselves. UPND can do better as a ruling party. To really get this so-called Lukuru Voice to engage people of the caliber of Honorable Sichinga, they can do much better and have a better discourse. So what I can advise you, Mr. Lukuru Voice, who lives in Lusaka, just chew the little that you are being given. Don't make too much noise. Let those who are suffering speak for themselves and be spoken for.
And also,
let me just say, just so before you come in, he is of course a citizen, so he is entitled to have the opinion, regardless of whether or not.
Yes, but he should not abuse the other people. Nobody on this program mentioned Akainde.
Correct.
None of us, Ruchi, mentioned Akainde. He was accusing us that we are attacking Akainde here.
Maybe attacking policies.
Did you hear anything about Akainde here?
No.
Did you hear even us mentioning the word UPND here?
No, but then when you listen to Lukulu Voice's presentation, it is scripted.
Yes, it is
so
scripted.
For now, we know that in the UPND, actually there is a team constituted just to respond to TV and the radio programs every time there is a presentation or there is a discussion. But unfortunately, just like Dr. Member is also saying, they are beaten in terms of circumstances. They are not doing a good job because you can't be referring to the same presentation, the same mechanism of responding to issues. I mean, national discourse is supposed to be in a certain context. And of course, you do move with time. What they're trying to defend, the issues of free education, has been explained in the simplest applicable ways. Go to Mchinga and see what is happening, what is obtaining on the ground.
Just for benefit. Maybe we go by it, and I don't want to go too long on this, because obviously there were others.
There's electoral process, there's erection of opposition.
But let me just, on what he said, he talked about there's now free education, he talked about debt was restructured, mines were closed, now they're open. And maybe this comes back to what I said earlier on about the question from somebody on WhatsApp who was saying, are there any policies that you would keep? Would you see these as the examples that he's given? Would you see these as benefits or scores, something that you can say we can build on?
Thank you, Ruchi, for your mediation. But again, these are issues that we dealt with at length. The whole program up to now has been on these issues.
Okay. All right.
You started by disagreeing with us in some of the things. You ended up agreeing with us because of the explanations we gave.
Okay.
So it's like somebody who was not listening, just coming and hurrying some attacks.
That's correct.
Okay. Let's go where we haven't touched on. There was the first caller, I think it was Peter, who mentioned the electoral process.
That's right.
Are you worried about the electoral process? Do you also think that it will be a free and fair election?
We are likely to have sham elections.
Yes, correct.
At the rate we are going, the elections will be sham. You heard Mr. Hichilema declare publicly that if it wasn't for Bill 7, they were going to lose the elections. Unsolicited. There was no journalist who forced him to make that statement. He made it on his own. We were saying, as a nation, many people in the country were saying Bill 7 is about the 2026 elections. People were denying that. Even himself was denying that. But now he's saying it unsolicited. So if Bill 7 is about him winning the elections, if without Bill 7 he was going to lose the elections, what has he done?
Yes.
What have they done to make them win with Bill 7? And indeed, if he's not lying, there are some mechanisms that they have put in place that will enable them to win, that will disadvantage their competitors. So the status quo as it stood before Bill 7 was not favorable to them winning. They were going to lose. So what is it that he has done in Bill 7 that will make him win? Again, we can see that there is an attempt to ensure that there is no contest. We have applied 34 times as 2 weeks ago, 34 times to have a rally in Zambia. Since 2021, we have never been allowed to have a single rally. They are finishing their term of office without the Socialist Party ever being given a chance to hold a rally. And it's not just rallies, even just small meetings. They are going after you. How do you mobilize as a political party? How do you communicate? You can't even
Your
have
ideas.
meetings with your own structures. There are 1,850 something wards in Zambia today. Our people need to get into these wards. How many applications would we get which are not being granted? There are 156 constituencies before they are increased. How many permits do you need to get? We have never gotten a permit anywhere. The freedom of association, the freedom of assembly, the freedom of expression are being curtailed in this country in a way we have never seen. Even under the PF, which we are not glorifying, things were bad as well. But we had at least 2 rallies, one on the copper belt in Kitwe and one in Lusaka, in a short period of time. Here we are talking about 0.
In 5 years.
In 5 years. Finch Baletina. But he himself, Mr. Ichilema, is campaigning
right now.
Is having rallies everywhere. What type of a human being is this? What type of democracy is he trying to create in this country? What type of fairness or unfairness is this? Is this the way to run a multi-party political dispensation? And at the end of the day, he wins the election, says he has won. When the opponents are not allowed even to train, they should just go into the finals and kick the balls. You are not allowed to go even in an open pitch just to train.
Practice, yeah.
Even just to practice free kicks. You are not allowed. And you should be in the finals with him. And you will celebrate that he has won. Yes, that's why they are going around saying they have already won the election. They have already won the election with Bill 7 according to him. And these are not words being put in his mouth. These are words that came from his own mouth, unsolicited. So when you look at the conduct of the coming elections, we are likely to have sham elections.
Do you worry about some
almost like the ones we saw in Tanzania this year, which he congratulated, which he celebrated himself?
Do you worry about things like, the current delimitation process, but then also just generally, are you paying attention to what's going on in terms of this amendment to the electoral process?
Yes.
Yeah.
You can't change the rules of the game
When
just before the tournament. Just before the tournament, FIFA changes the rules just before the World Cup. People have prepared on a different set
basis,
of rules.
yeah.
Then just before the tournament starts, there are new rules. When are you going to learn those rules? When are you going to practice on those rules? Definitely it does not mean well. The intentions are not good. Again, is to advantage themselves. That's why you saw the celebrations of Bill 7 when it was passed.
At Parliament.
At Parliament. It was celebrated in a way that we have never seen before.
And the Zambian people, comrade, were lied to. They were made to believe without Bill 7, the limitation was not going to take place. There was an insinuation to say if the limitation was to take place, then Bill 7 would have been given all the attention, which is not true, which is not correct. Because the limitation of constituencies is a mandate of the Electoral Commission of Zambia, which is an established institution. And there is actually a provision to say review of constituencies will be done every after 10 years. So with or without Bill 7, the limitation
would have to be done anyway.
At any time following that provision.
Okay. There was one last...
So there's in fact the registration of voters. If you look at the numbers, Luchi, if you look at the numbers, you'll see certain provinces with an unusual increase that you can't explain. They've been questioned. So yes, we're paying attention to that. The delimitation issue, again, the Electoral Commission itself has said that they're overwhelmed by what they people reacted to, because they had not been consulted. And this is why, as opposition, we're not against the review or even the the delimitation, but it has to be given sufficient time in order to be done properly, so that we don't have these imbalances that are taking place, which you cannot explain.
Okay.
So yeah, if you see what I mean.
All right. There's one last question from Muntu Mususu, who mentioned that opposition technically should come together rather than what you're seeing, where you have these splinter alliances back and forth.
Unity is important.
Don't mind that. I'll get our technicians. Yeah.
Unity is important. Although unity is not a law, it's a sentiment. It is important. But unity at any level is not easy. It's not only the politicians who need to unite.
Correct.
The religious institutions need to unite. How many religious institutions do we have? How many churches do we have? Christian churches in this country today. Even within groups, whether you look at the evangelicals, how many churches? How many churches are splitting even within the evangelicals? This bishop and that bishop, they go separate ways. This pastor and that pastor, they go separate ways. We have similar divisions, similar tensions even in the chiefdoms. We have proliferations of trade unions. Trade unions, we have proliferations. How many confederations do we have? How many trade unions do we have in each industry? We who support the workers parties, we have been urging the trade unions to unite. But they are telling us they have challenges. They have challenges. We would like to see one Christian church. We have so many of them.
Okay, let me take a little break,
Yeah.
so we can sort out what's going on with our sound here. Let me take a little break. We'll be back very shortly. This is Tuesday's edition of Let the People Talk.
The future belongs to brands that are intentional, intelligent, and bold. At Liselije Branding House, we design brands that help organizations lead with confidence. From strategic branding and storytelling content, we turn vision into impact through digital design and software development.
If your brand is ready for its next level, we are ready for you. Find us on Kabelenga Road, Lusaka. Call 0963 865 071. Liselije Branding House, creating timeless brands.
Achani boy.
Laka changu.
Ayo, usanivuta nikuseni. Nachoka pa Express Credit hapa nizotenga poka draft.
Ni mpya ine, oro nilimuka pressure.
Wenzofuna zingati?
Nezofuna koche oro chi 40 oro 50 oro 65 pinso.
Nikangono hako. Batumile phone pa 3334 3334 one time zibwe. Why ukondo zifaka kuwaya iwe kasi? Payslip ulinayo, NRC ulinayo, account number ulinayo, kunchito cherera.
Nayo siri kuwaya. Wewe unoniramo so.
Sima souvenir mwanaya, leka payslip isebenze.
Boy wanisova, leka niwalizi depo chilamya manje so hapo.
Express Credit offers loans to everyone from the formal sector. You can contact our call center on 3334 across all networks or visit our website on www.expresscredit.co.zm. Express Credit, money when you need it. Terms and conditions apply.
All right, 10:44 on Phoenix. Welcome back to Let the People Talk. If you want to call us, 226-841-0978-895. Let's go here. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Roach.
Morning.
And the Honorable, good morning. This is Mr. Proud.
Mr. Proud.
For Roach, my brother. We live with together in the garden. I was once a bodyguard for Bobo State when he was a member of parliament. I want to talk of a little issue when you come. For example, this is the issue you are suffering. It's a people who cause the post newspaper. Post newspaper used to employ 10,000 today. Those used are being called the junkies. Please, the other end has managed to open the Mungu State referendum will be opened. To go to Matero and remember, they were Kanjanji. That Indian used to go from Chirenge to Matero. Who was there? Is a given Ruvinda, Makebizu. These are people don't associate with these people, including the they make use of Zambia to serve than to mention the name of President. Thank you very much.
Okay, Proud. Thank you very much. Thanks, Proud. 2268410978895. Someone here says, what are they going to do different in terms of meal allowance, for example, for universities, the school feeding programs, and also how are they going to handle corruption differently? I don't know if you want to respond to that. Just
maybe I think before that, I think that the president was explaining about the coming together. Okay. Maybe just finish that.
Okay,
the other one. Yeah. Okay.
So, unity is necessary, but it's not easy to achieve. We have been working on opposition unity as SP from October 2024 after our second Congress in September of the same year. We have joined other formations, we have worked with others, and it's not easy. We have spent so much of our time. But the unity of the opposition is not for the politicians alone to unite. Mm-hmm. The People's Pact is not a product of politicians. It's not an initiative of politicians. It's an initiative of other citizens. We were simply called in to perform certain roles. The roles we are performing today, we did not assign them to ourselves. We don't even control the People's Pact as politicians. It's controlled by other citizens who initiated it. So, unity that is just left to the politicians alone will not materialize.
And the cause as well.
We need to unite all our people. And also the politician is not the only leader. The politician is not the only leader. We need other leaders to participate. We need other leaders of our people to participate. There are religious leaders. They are authentic leaders of our people. Mm-hmm. They are traditional leaders. They are authentic leaders of our people. We have the business leadership. We have the trade union leadership. We have the professionals, the intellectuals also need to participate, including the media itself. The media has got a role to play to set the agenda for what the country should achieve and participate in achieving that. If this unity is very important, let's all work together on it. And indeed, we need it. Whether to change government or to move our country forward, unity is needed. And actually, it's much more needed when it comes to transforming the country. So, this unity is something that we are working on, and we'll continue working on to the end of the whole period. Time is not with us. Some steps are being taken, some achievements are being made, but it's not enough, and we agree. There's need for unity. But it's not established in a vacuum. And we need your participation. I don't know the name of the caller. Or Muntu Mususu, we need your participation. It's not just the criticism. Yes, we need the criticism, but also we need the building. We need you to achieve that unity.
And the People's Pact actually is on record to have delivered success. It is not a new institution. It is not a new movement. It was there even prior to the 2011 general elections. It supported the Patriotic Front in the leadership of late Michael Sat. And chairperson of the People's Pact that time was Kano Panjikaunda.
Yeah.
Yes, it has been around. It has been here. It has worked on a solid mobilization aspect. Today, President Sinkamba is chairperson. So, a consortium of progressive forces wanting to see change coming the soonest.
Okay. There was a question around what would you do different in terms of meal allowance for students and then corruption as well.
I think those are important issues. We tackled them. I think the question of the quality of the education itself. But remember, this is an expenditure side. Okay.
The meal allowance part.
Meal allowance is an expenditure. Okay. It means that we have to allocate resources to education. All right. Within that, then you decide how much will go to meal allowance, how much will go to paying for the lecturers and so on and so forth. So it's not something that you can say, all right, well, the meal allowance is going to be like this. No, it has to be something we sit down together and say, how much do we allocate to this resource? And within there, sit down with the stakeholders, as President Member said. It's not just politicians. We have to sit down together and say, these are the options that are available to us. But you have to generate the resource in the first place. You cannot spend what you don't have,
Yeah.
because that's what has gotten us to where we are. Okay, so I think that's going to be very, very important that we agree on a cause. What is the cause that we have? Collectively as Zambia, we may differ in the way we solve that problem. So the idea is, let's get our ideas together, and as was even being pointed out, that is part of the problem that we have even in uniting the opposition. If you look at what has taken place now, look at what's taking place in the PF itself. How many factions do you have? So which one do you talk to? So until those resolve that particular issue, and yes, we agree on the causes, what are the issues, we must engage with the people that are not necessarily politicians, but who are also stakeholders, at least has been already given in terms of the leadership that is taking place. So it is something that has to be dealt with. Once you get into office, you have to say, okay, let's sit down here. But the issue is that we are committed to ensuring the quality of education, the adequacy of the people, that also the jobs are created, so that what you are educating is being absorbed at the same time.
Okay, all right.
There was another issue that was taken, I think, about Brenna Changala's interview.
This is the question that I asked. Hello, good morning.
Joseph Muzunga from Vida.
Yes, Mr. Joseph.
Mr. Membe, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
I want to challenge you, Mr. Membe. Start working with the disabled also. Start giving them seminars and train the disabled also to lose this country also. Train them also. That's my plea. That's my ask.
Sir Joseph, I agree with you. Any of us can be disabled anytime.
Yes, absolutely.
I can come out of here within a few minutes, I'm disabled. My life should not come to an end. I'm still a human being deserving the respect, deserving the compassion, and I should function. So we need a society that cares about everybody.
Correct.
And especially those who are not able to do certain things for themselves. So I agree with you 100%.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Joseph. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning. What's your name?
Yes, good morning. It's Mr. Chironda in Lusaka.
Yes, Mr. Chironda, you're live on radio. Go ahead.
Yeah. What we need to do in politics is about to bring issue-basis politics. To tell the people what we are going to do. Politics is about to win the heart of the people. Politics is a game. And that's why we go one by one to go and vote on the corner. Nobody will force you. We'll go with your voter's card and stick to what you want. So, what are you telling them? Like now, you are a candidate to stand in this year general election. What are you telling the Zambians? What UPN did not do. You, what you want to do. So, tell the people what you want to do. It's up to people. In the democracy, respect the people of Zambia, whatever they decide, and nobody can interfere. So for us, it's you to lead. You are not only one candidate. We are almost 30, but the people of Zambia will choose the best. So tell the people your manifesto, what you're going to do. I don't know.
Okay, Morgan.
Which is
okay. Which is I was about to say.
So clearly,
Morgan, I think maybe you joined us a bit late.
That's the problem when people are scripted.
Yeah, scripted.
They are scripted to go to a radio station and say this, regardless.
Yeah. Okay.
Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning. Morning, sir. What's your name?
My name is Kasakakiza David Mvula. I'm sure I'm a very well-known person to Dr. Membe.
Your name again? I think maybe he may have missed it.
Kasakakiza Mvula, David Mvula.
Mr. Mvula.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm a very well-known person to Dr. Membe. We come from very long far.
Okay, go ahead.
Good morning,
Good morning, Mvula. Teri bwino muli bwanji uko?
Yeah, tiri bwino siko.
Ziko.
Without prejudice, I am a little disappointed with the knowledge of the mining industry with Baschinga. You need to go back when the mine started. My father worked for the mine from 1998, so up to 1987, I became default
a miner. To go back, before privatization, who owned the mines? 1978, the XCC, who owned the mines? Who owned the mines? In what percentage? When Mopani was sold, it did not have a balance sheet. When Mopani was reacquired,
sorry, Mr. Mvula, can you do me a favor? Can you just turn off your radio?
Yes, sorry.
Yeah.
Hello?
Yeah, okay, much better.
Am I there now?
Yes, much better.
I was talking about Mopani having a balance sheet at any particular time. And I'm having a little disappointment that they do not have appreciation of the major asset which they want to use to earn money for this country. They don't. Neither do I think that Dr. Membe has projected himself. I want to know from both of you, what is your policy? What is it that you're going to do differently? So far, I've heard this. In a nutshell, Dr. Membe, if I hear you very well, an elephant being in the room, is nationalization, as in the socialist policies, each you are not bringing out that we nationalize that, we nationalize that. Thank you very much.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. I guess he wants to know whether you're going to nationalize.
It's just, I think I'll pick it up because I think it's easier.
Okay.
Mr. Mvula, just first of all, that you should know, I know a lot more than you do because I worked on the mines. I worked on the mines. I was at Mufulira mine for 5 years as a financial controller of that mine, as mine secretary of that mine. I rose up to be group financial controller. I was responsible for reorganization and cost cutting measures and so on and so forth. So just to say that we don't know is not correct. And I also want to tell you that you don't work in a vacuum. You work on the basis of the statistics that you've got available. If you are going to make an investment, and ZCCM did make investments, many investments, which frankly is what leads you to where you are next. And developing mines is not an overnight affair. Developing a mine takes a long time, usually between 5 to 10 years to 15 years to develop mines. And so it's unfair for you to say that we do not seem to know what we're doing. And it's not just nationalization. Codelco, which was one of the companies from Chile that wanted to buy these mines, is state-owned. What's wrong with state ownership? Tell us that. Tell me what is wrong with the state ownership. Because if you don't have the means of production, how are you going to claim dividend from it? Because you don't have shares. You don't own it. You can only do it through charges like the taxation we talked about. We've talked about mineral royalty tax. And I don't know about your own knowledge about the mines and whether you've worked on the mines or whether you've got any understanding of how the mines operate. What we're saying is that the resource that is coming out of the mine must be shared equitably with those that own the resource. You cannot have copper production without the ore coming from the ground. So the production side is not the only means by which you generate that income. It requires the resource itself, the ore from the underground, to be available to you. So the capital, yes, is an important component, but not the only component. Because without the bulk, the ore body, you cannot be able to exploit it. So what we're saying to you is not just nationalization that we're talking about. We are talking about participating. Because if you don't participate in the ownership, you cannot generate that income. And we're also talking about the rates that are used in order to charge for that resource which is coming out of the ground. And I think we've spent a lot of time discussing that. We've elaborated it, and it may not be sufficient for this particular time that we have for this conversation. And we invite you, and I'm sure that the studio will be able to share with you. Come and listen to these issues. Don't be prejudiced even before you've heard the issues that are before us. And the country is earning $14,000 per metric ton now. During the time of ZCCM, you were at less than $2,000. Surely that makes a difference. The issues of the global dynamics, international business, and so on and so forth have also changed during that period. We've had the issues of the global financial crisis in 2008, and all these things have changed the dynamics of production, the demand. The electric vehicle has also created demand for copper and cobalt and lithium and so on and so forth. So these things have changed. You are not just talking about the past. We are talking about the future. We're looking at how do we do that going forward, because the past issues have not resolved the problems of our people. I hope that clarifies that for our brother Msamvula.
And also the nature of copper now as a mineral has changed drastically.
Correct.
Today copper can be included in the critical minerals. Before it was an ordinary mineral.
It was a base metal.
It was just a base metal. Today copper is a critical mineral. Whose value is not going to reduce, it is going to continue to increase.
Correct.
All right. I guess we're going to have to finish off this conversation here because, as you can hear, equipment doesn't allow us to continue, even though time is also against us. But I want to thank you for all three of you for coming on the program. Mr. Preston Chinyama, member of the Central Committee of the Socialist Party, assistant to the Socialist Party President for Politics. Dr. Fred Membe, anything last you want to say before we finish off?
I will say that it gets dark sometimes, but the morning comes. Let's not lose hope. Let's not be pessimistic. Let's be eternally optimistic. Yes, there's a dark cloud hanging over our heads today, over our country today. But with effort, with God's grace, this cloud can go away and light will shine on our homeland again. Let's put in the best effort to construct the leadership that is required to move our country forward. Leadership matters. It mattered in the past, it matters today, it will matter tomorrow. The leadership that we need, we will construct will determine the future of our country. Let's not give up.
Just to read, I'm just curious. You said something earlier on about you're not anti-foreign. That's correct?
We are not anti-foreign.
You're not anti-foreign.
Today's world cannot just be decided. Things in today's world cannot be just decided locally. Sometimes I feel very sad when Zambians, you want to take an international dimension. They want you to say, let's just focus on what is local. We are not operating in a vacuum. We are operating in a world that is increasingly globalizing. And globalizing at a very fast rate. And this globalizing is unstoppable. What we need to do is to engage it in the best way possible. You need a leadership that understands the global dynamics.
Correct.
We cannot close ourselves off. No country in this world can solve all its problems by itself, not even the United States, which is the richest country in the world today, can solve all its problems by itself. Not even China can solve all its problems by itself. We need each other, small and big. So we are not closing ourselves off. We are not saying we should not have foreign businessmen. No. What we are saying is let's engage foreign entities in a manner that is beneficial to us as well. They are not coming here for charity.
No.
They are coming here for self-interest. We should also engage them out of self-interest and get the best deal that we can for ourselves,
so that we can address the political issues that affect our own people. And also just to say that there can be no change without there being change. There won't be. We will stay where we are for as long as we don't change. So we are participating as a country. We're saying, let's have our best brains, let's have our best policies, let's look at what our interests are, so that our people can address that poverty, those poverty levels, those percentages we're talking about, so that our people can go to the hospital and get medicines, so that our children can be educated, they can get their meal allowance, they can get whatever needs to be done. But you need the resource. So our approach is self-interest. what is our and we must reach what is called a Pareto frontier. All of us, but the investor must come knowing that we're also investing because we're providing the raw material. So that is basically the message that I think everybody should get away from this. We're not just talking about nationalizing and nobody else can come here. No, far from it.
Okay. Again, I want to thank all of you for coming on the program. Dr. Fred Membe, Mr. Robert Chinga, thank you very much for coming on the program today. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
That is today's edition of Let the People Talk.